Why? What is wrong with this car? I hate this 540! I am at my wit's end with this car. So, you saw that little clip from last night. The 540 has once again failed me completely. This time ending up on a trailer. So, I've explained to you guys in the past that this car is for some reason having weird issues where it'll blow through fuel pump relays pretty often. So I find myself occasionally, I'll drive it home and then randomly it will crank and it won't start. So then usually what I do is I pop open the fuse box cover and I swap out the fuel pump relay and sometimes the main relay, but well, I don't think I've ever actually had to replace it, but I kind of mess with them, I jump them, and eventually then with a new relay it works. So it's kind of popping relays, which to me is like a grounding electrical problem. But this time around, same issue, although this issue happened a little different. So how it went down was, I was driving and I was in like 4th gear, just cruising, no pulls, and the car would like stutter, and the check engine light would pop, and then it would turn off, and then it would kind of jump, and then it would come back, and it was actually doing it, you know, pretty often, trying to just go get pizza. And I was like, all right, something's kind of iffy here, and I'm actually glad that it failed, because had I kept having that issue, I would have been going crazy trying to find it. But shortly after, a couple stutters later, the car dies on me while I'm cruising, and I had to coast, and luckily we are on a stretch of road where I coasted in the middle and traffic passed, and I had E-Man in the car with me, and we just pushed it real quick. So we pushed it across the 2 lanes of traffic, got into a parking lot. That's where I tried to do my fix, and to no avail, I couldn't get it running. So I believe we are sitting with a dead fuel pump. But for right now, before I go ahead and drive 50 minutes for a fuel pump, I am going to just double check that I'm getting power to my relays. Always a good idea. And then I might take 2 other spares from in my toolbox, throw them in and see if it starts. Just at a weird chance that all the relays I brought with me yesterday are also bad. I don't think that'd be the case, but let's test for power. So now things are getting a little more interesting. So I got my cover off to do some testing here. I got my voltmeter, and I have the main relay probed, power and ground. You should be getting battery voltage. I am not getting battery voltage. So I tried this with all my relays. They all don't seem to be getting the proper voltage. And now that is where things get confusing, because now it might not be a fuel pump, because to double check what I'm doing here, I went over to the Calypso, I grabbed both of its fuel pump and main relays, popped them in, still no start. So it's not a relay issue, that's for sure. And I went over there with the multimeter and I did the same exact test. I took the main relay out, I probed it, and I was getting battery voltage. I did the same thing with the fuel pump relay. I probed it, I was getting battery voltage. These relays are not getting battery voltage. So we have an issue here. And the developments just keep getting more and more interesting. So spark test came back, no spark. So no spark, no fuel, no power to the, I mean, seems we're not getting power into the harness here is kind of what it's looking like, which is very odd, because that is a very rare thing to happen in one of these cars. Yes, you need crank signal to get fuel and spark, but you shouldn't need crank signal to get 12 volts to the main relay, because that should be wired straight from the battery. So that's why things are getting kind of wacky here. I'm going to check my positives and make sure that I'm actually have proper connections to the battery, ground as well. When I say there's never been an E34 I couldn't figure out. So let me run you guys through this absolute maze of a thing. All right, so right here you have the positive terminal that goes straight from the battery into basically all of the harness, right? And my thoughts are that this is what powers all the relays. Like I said, no power to any of the relays. Crank sensor was good, so I decided not to change that. So I tested this for voltage, and I got the same voltage I was getting at the main relay, 0.4, not 12, not what I want. So I was like, all right, so this for some reason is not getting voltage. So I come back here, I kind of traced it, and I'm looking at the battery, and I'm like, all right, which one makes sense? Not this one, because this is the fusible link. This goes elsewhere in the car. But this one right here with this big old fuse thing down here. I tested the voltage at the inlet of this fuse. Battery voltage, surely enough, that's what you want to see. And then I kind of looked further, and if you get in there and look, that thing is beat to hell. I don't know what, it's like crushed, and it looks not good. The fuse itself, you may not be able to see on camera, the fuse itself does look intact, but this monstrosity here of yellowing and cracking, and that can't be good. So I have no way to get the probe in this end here, but my guess is that that thing is not functioning. So that was my guess. So then I decided to come back over here, and I said, all right, well, how can I prove this point? Got my jump box here. So we put the jump box on the positive terminal. Hold on, I might need two hands here. Bear with me. All right, jump box on the positive terminal, grounded on the chassis. Turn the jump box on. Come in here, crank the car, and oh, what do you know? We have a running 540. And I was like, all right, maybe it was a coincidence. Come back to the jump box, pop that off, and we have a non-running 540. So, what that pretty much means is that my power wire from the battery to all the ECU box powers and stuff is not functioning properly. Yup, that was it. So I got the jump box hooked directly on the other side of where that fuse was, and we got it running 540. So let me show you guys. Let me cut that off and unhook this. Let's see here. All right, so there's the wire. This is the side from the battery. That's the side to the fuse box. Again, like I said, I'm not sure if stock there's supposed to be a fusible link there, if it's supposed to be straight through. It looks like there is supposed to be a fuse there originally. I don't think this is what someone would have done. Somehow I think that broke, and then their choice was one of these, which is, this is pretty much an amp subwoofer fuse. I don't know what the amperage, but you could see it's destroyed. This was all covered in this plastic. I had to break it free to get to the bolt so I could undo it. So this is not in there all the way. So my guess is that this connection with the actual fuse is no longer good. It would get jostled around while driving, and that's why I'd have intermittent, like car would stumble, turn off, car would, not. And then finally, I guess it just kind of fully fell out, but it doesn't really have much movement. So that's why I'm kind of confused where the connection went wrong here. But I have literally eliminated it because hardwiring it straight to that, it works. So it was undeniably this. I'm really happy with my multimeter skills to follow it back. I haven't really had many BMWs that have had an electrical issue like that where I actually had to follow it, but this was pretty apparently wrong. Well, I'm kind of butthurt. I went over here, grabbed the Calypso, brought it home just to find that my wiring actually has the original cover on it, so I can't tell. But maybe if you could kind of see at the top of that black wrap, there's like a bulge, and I'm feeling it, and I do think that is a fusible link. I'm gonna go online and look up fusible link locations. So I think there's the one that runs there, and then I think there's that one. So I'm thinking that door's crusty. I'm thinking that car burned through its fusible link, and instead of fixing it the right way, the previous owner, given all the other stuff that he has rigged on that car, just rigged it with a amp fuse or whatever he could find. So now I'm going to do some research online, and then I will concur. I don't know if that's the word. Then I will come back and I will let you guys know what my plan of attack is, what I'm going to buy, what fuse, or whatever like that. Because that's pretty much my only option. I'm not going to pull the interior apart to do a freaking battery cable. Not to mention I don't have a battery cable. I won't be able to find a battery cable easily or cheap. So we're going to go this route. So I will come back to you guys in a little bit. And upon a little E34.net search, I found a nice little thread here talking about basically the exact same thing I just faced. So this guy was talking about how car was having weird issues and people only talk about the one fusible link, the big one with the nice box. But like I said on this car, under that heat wrap, there is another fusible link. It's a little one. It's a permanent one that's riveted. so you have to kind of get creative to take it out. This car's obviously already had it taken out, so clearly this car blew that one up, but it happens to other people too, so what caused that, we're not really sure. But I also got word that it's a 50 amp, so like I said, I don't know what was in there, but I'm going to go to AutoZone, grab a 50 amp fuse, similar, maybe it might end up being what was in there. I was talking trash about it. That might be the only way I could do it, or we'll just kind of see. I need some sort of fuse to get, join those two wires, and it has to be 50 amps, so at least we're going to be at the right spec now. But it's been done before. There is no replacement fuse for it, so you do have to get a whole new battery wire, like I was saying, and I'm not doing that. So we're going to go grab a fuse and then pop it in, and hopefully all is well. Alright, so this is what I was able to come up with at the AutoZone. So I got a bolt-in cartridge fuse, 50 amp. At the end of the day, I don't think what type of fuse, but I like this one because I can put terminals on those connections and bolt them to this. And that's more similar to how the stock fusible link is. It's a bolted, basically, connection. And then I got the ring terminals for that. So I believe it's 6 gauge. I think I got the right gauge. And then I'm going to bolt those onto this thing. So right now I just got to find hardware to do that. And then I'm going to clamp these on, hook them up, and fingers crossed. All right, we got both the ring terminals on there, crimped down. So now we just got to bolt in the fuse. I found the hardware I need. And bolt those together, and then we got to put back in the battery and give her a shot. I have high hopes here. I'm pretty excited, unless we blow the 50 right away and then we realize that that was a thicker fuse in there the first time, because there's an issue, and then we're gonna have to trace down wiring and find a grounding issue, which would suck. And there we are. We got the fuse bolted down to both the terminals, so we have a connection once again. Now we're gonna pop in the battery, and I have a broken, this whole battery cable's shot. I mean, look, it's broken, but it still works. So now we hook up the battery and we try to start this thing and see if this fuse works. Hopefully, those metals are all conductive, I'd imagine, but we'll see. Should all work here. All right, we're all hooked up. Let's see. Moment of truth. I'm gonna do it from the passenger seat. All right, here we go. Beautiful. Beautifully done. Oh, perfect. We have battery, terminal, cable connections. Once again, we have power to the fuse box. I knew right away after looking at that thing that was probably my issue. With some good old-fashioned multimeter troubleshooting, we were able to find that. So I'm stoked, but I don't want to get too excited yet. I want to take this thing for a drive and see how it holds up, see if I have any weird issues, see if I have any stutters like I did, anything out of the ordinary. And just see if it pops the fuse. I mean, it could, after a few minutes of running, it could just blow the fuse, and then I'll be in the same situation as I was yesterday. So maybe I shouldn't go too far. We'll see. But yeah, I'm gonna let this thing warm up, put back together my seat, put back together my glove box, and take this thing for a spin. All right, so I'm stress testing it. Well, not really stress testing. I'm just driving, and subwoofer works. So I got some bass now. I'm happy about that. Sounds great. Everything's working. No stuttering. I'm pretty happy so far. So far so good. This thing needs front brakes. That's what it needs now. Because when you hit the brakes, it shakes like crazy. But call it a job well done. I'm gonna drive around, put some miles on this thing, and ensure that it's solid. And then we can call this a success. We're back. I took this thing on a pretty long road trip. No, not road trip. Pretty long drive, 30 minutes or so. Beating the absolute hell out of it. Enjoying this thing. And man, did it feel good. No stutters, no check engine lights, no breakdowns, nothing like that. So the replacement fuse job worked well. I won't really know for a while now. But it did not burn up the fuse, so I don't think there's an underlying issue. I guess this, could have gotten burnt up from an install when they did the motor, the B40 swap. It could have been a million things, so I'm not really worried. But again, I really don't know. This could have been screwed up before they ever touched it the first place. I'm not really sure what happened here. The car can't tell its stories, unfortunately. I'm trying to piece this together the best I can. But as a word of advice, don't use an audio fuse to power your main ECU power. That was just kind of stupid. I feel like this should not be used to replace a fusible link, but alas, here we are, running and driving 540, and I didn't even have to buy a fuel pump. So spent like $11 for those audio, or for the new fuse and the connectors, and we're back in business. So I'm happy. I thought it was gonna be something simple, got a little more confusing. Turned out to be something pretty simple. So thank you guys for watching this impromptu video of the 540 yet again breaking down on me. We'll see what the next video is with the 540, probably breaking down on me again, who knows. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.